Gordon's signing happened so quickly that now West Coolers want every deal to be closed just as fast. Even so, you can pretty much say it's done already. Julián Álvarez has said yes to Barça and has agreed to a 5-season deal. Full personal agreement confirmed from Argentina. Very, very reliable sources confirm it. Journalists very close to the player. 120 million euros from PSG have been rejected. Arsenal has been rejected. He has chosen Barça. And even so, there is a perfect trap waiting for Flick's team that could make everything explode before the World Cup starts. 7 internationally renowned journalists confirm it. Journalists like Fabrizio Romano, Fernando Polo, Gaston Edul, Matteo Moretto, Veronica Pronati, Santiago Valle, and Germán Grova are nearly confirming the news. Julián Álvarez will join Football Club Barcelona. A personal agreement and a 100 million offer are in place with Atlético de Madrid. However, some journalists still deny this is definitive. But after all, those who have the most influence today in the transfer market are confirming that yes, Julián is going to Barça. But of course, Atlético de Madrid has just put 3 conditions on the table that will force Barça to make the most definitive move for Álvarez. Julián Álvarez. And the first one has already left Deco speechless. Yes. Bernardo Silva. Atlético de Madrid wants Bernardo Silva to be their first condition to let go of Julián Álvarez, the same player who, weeks ago, was practically signed with Barça. The one who turned down 18 million euros a year from Atlético de Madrid to earn 4 with Barça. Now the Madrid club is using him as a bargaining chip. The logic is twisted. If Barça gives in, they lose Bernardo. If they don't give in, the negotiation for Julián gets blocked. It's a trap designed not to be accepted, but to cause harm. But there's something Atleti can't control. The will of a player who already said no once. And we all know Julián's will. They know it in Barcelona, they know it in Madrid, and they know it in Argentina. And what Barça just announced about Bernardo changes everything. Barcelona has confirmed that the agreement with Bernardo Silva is also complete. Only a few details remain. The announcement is absolutely imminent. Even though Atleti made it a condition, Barça is not going to budge on Bernardo. We already said it, and that's it. And now comes the second condition, the most painful of the 3. The one that Mateo Lehmann, the sporting director of Atlético de Madrid, knows exactly how much it's going to sting because he used to be at Barça years ago. He knows the youth academy. He knows the names. And he chose one that Deco considers completely untouchable. Marc Bernal, the midfielder trained at La Masia, is the one chosen by Atlético de Madrid. He asked for him because he knows that asking for Bernal forces Barça to explicitly say no. And in any negotiation, having to say no to something that hurts a lot is a sign of weakness. It's pure chess. Deco has already responded. Completely off limits. Bernal is untouchable, non-negotiable, under no circumstances. But then here comes the third condition. And this one has a more realistic chance of getting the deal done than any other. Marc Casado. Here, Barça would actually give in. Another youth player. Another die-hard Barça fan. The midfielder refuses to leave because of a lack of commitment. But because he knows that with Pedri, Gabi, Olmo, De Jong, Fermin, and now Bernardo Silva in midfield, minutes on the field will become a luxury that no one can guarantee him. Atletico knows it and is asking for him. And they're also playing with that. Could Barça include him in the deal? Yes, but only under very specific conditions. And right now, Flick has already made internal decisions that explain exactly why Casado is the only piece with real room to move in this negotiation. And you saw recently that Monaco was interested in Marc Casado, and in the end, that deal fell through. Flick has been clear with Deco. Before anyone arrives, space must be cleared. He doesn't want too many stars or key players sitting on the bench, nor does he want men expecting to start causing locker room issues. Causing trouble every week because they're not playing. He has requested 2 specific departures. You already know the first one. The second one is going to surprise you because it involves a player no one is talking about. With Gordon coming in on the left, Lamine is untouchable on the right. and Rafinha has influence in the team, it would mean having a fifth or sixth winger sitting on the bench week after week. A player of that level, with that profile sitting on the bench permanently, is a ticking time bomb in any locker room. Flick has seen it. Flick has said it. And the second departure is Bargy, the Swede who, at 18 years old with Lamine dominating the right wing and dominating Europe, has no role. That's how it is. And a loan with guarantees suits him better than continuing to watch matches from the stands. And that brings us back to Casado. And to the most difficult decision that Deco has to make this summer, if the negotiation for Julián needs a Barça player to unlock it. Casado is the only one with real margin, not because Barça wants to lose her, but because the space in midfield with Bernardo Silva is drastically reduced. A homegrown player who truly feels Barça, loved in the locker room, but with a sporting space that has almost completely closed. This will be Deco's toughest decision, and besides, this negotiation is still blocked. There is an urgent reason why Barça has to close this before June 11th, a reason that has a name, a surname, and wears the Argentina uniform. If Julián attends the World Cup as a Barça player, his price would already be set. If he goes as an Atlético de Madrid player and scores 3 goals in the tournament, the price goes up, the bonus skyrockets. Atleti is absolutely right about one thing. Time is on their side if they manage to delay the deal. That's why the conditions are exaggerated. That's why their public stance is tough. Cerezo said at a public event that Julián will play many more years at Atleti. But in private, everyone at the club knows that keeping a player who has formally communicated that he doesn't want to renew is practically impossible in the medium term. Cholo knows this better than anyone. He has managed locker rooms for 15 years, and he knows what happens when a key player has his mind somewhere else. The Barça from 3 years ago couldn't even consider this deal. The one for Julián Álvarez, they didn't have money, they didn't have fair play. They didn't have the margin to go after a player worth 120 million euros while closing the deal for Bernardo Silva for free and Gordon for 70 million. Today's Barça can. 385 million available. Over 1,000 million in annual income, fair play resolved. Wage bill being cleared with the departures of Ansu, Ter Stegen and Baggy. This is the difference. And there's something that confirms that this time is different from all the previous ones. Gordon was closed in 4 hours when Barça was still saying it was impossible. Bernardo chose 4 million from Barça over 18 from Atleti. Julián turned down PSG and Arsenal to wait. That, my friends, is not luck. That's called a project. That's called the real strength of Hansi Flick's Barça. The only question is whether Julián Álvarez will arrive before or after the World Cup. And Barça needs it to be before. Which of the 3 conditions from Atleti would Barça accept?